can watch. Okay, so you guys, thanks so much for coming on for our Faithfully Fit team calls. I love Wednesday nights. I love seeing all of your faces. Makes me so happy in the middle of hump day. Today we are going to be rehashing Platinum Edge, so you're not really going to be hearing me talk a lot. I, in fact, don't even have a lot of announcements, but this was us on our last night. So Heidi and Kira and Tanya and Suzanne and Pam and myself and Juliet were able to go to Platinum Edge, and we were together almost 2 weeks ago. I can't believe the time has gone by so quickly. But we had a lot of great information that we took from Platinum Edge. A lot of it was geared around social media. So we're going to share that with you, share with you about being authentic to your story, about who you're going after for challengers and coaches, and then how to apply some of that into your business. So before we get into that, I would like to just do a couple announcements. So the first two announcements that I have really tie in hand. So this slide you guys have seen before about the Diamond Retreat in January. So we are in October, what is today, the 5th, and this is the first of 3 months where you have to qualify for Success Club 5 in order to be eligible. So even if you end the year as a diamond and you did not hit Success Club one of these 3 months, no bueno, doesn't work. So I just want to remind you guys of that. And for those of you that are aiming for diamond, or those of you that are lifetime diamonds and you're working to get back, or those of you who are diamonds right now, we can go into this in more detail. But one thing that I do, and I'm sure Heidi has her own thing that she also did, because when you start to qualify for Star Diamond status, you have to hold it for 6 weeks. So holding your diamond status for the last 7 weeks of the year is going to be very similar to what you're going to experience when you're going for really the 2-star. 2-star you have to hold for 6 consecutive weeks in order to get that second business center. So what I suggest you do is I actually wrote up like my little downline, right? I wrote up my downline when I was trying to qualify. And most importantly, I wrote all of my Emerald coaches, because the Emerald coaches for most is what makes you a shaky diamond, right? So my husband was an Emerald coach. Let's say my brand new coach was an Emerald coach. And what I did after I filled out my whole downline is in pencil, I would write down when the next order of Shakeology was going out for each person. So I literally, I don't have it right now, but I literally would have like my little upside down V with the dots, and I would have every single person's name. And then I would go through and I was like, okay, Megan Jones is due for another bag of Shakeology on October 23rd. So my goal was to make sure that Megan Jones was not going to go inactive, because I did not want to come to my computer on a Thursday and be like, oh, what happened? I'm not diamond anymore. Because that's what happens if you're not proactive about watching your status and your team and your coaches. So this is good practice for you guys. There's always a method behind some of the things that I do. It's good practice for you because you have to master this skill by the time you're trying to qualify for 2-star, because 2-star you get that second business center, and you qualify for leadership retreat, and you start qualifying for quarterly bonuses. And with 2-star, you have to hold your 2-star status the entire last 6 weeks of every single quarter. So this is good practice to do that. So literally, hi Alyssa, thanks for joining. So literally draw it all out and write down all of your people. And if you have like your mom as one of your Emerald coaches and she has 2 coaches under her, it's not, obviously I think all of us know on this call, we're not calling them up to be like, I just want to make sure you're getting your bag of Shakeology, but you're engaging with those people that might be under your mom, if your mom's not really coaching, and you're inviting them to challenge groups, or you're inviting them to a freemium, or you're building rapport, or you're having conversation with them well enough to ensure that they're liking their Shakeology and that shipment is going to come. And when October 23rd comes and Megan gets her bag of Shakeology, then I erase the date and I change it to November 23rd. and I follow the same thing, and I'm constantly looking. I don't get so preoccupied that I'm looking at that downline, but I'm definitely spending Tuesday and Wednesday looking at it, preparing for Thursday so I don't have any surprises. So, Heidi, I don't know if you want to just jump in on this. My whole reason I'm telling you guys this is because I don't want anyone to be disappointed because, your cousin's sister's husband paused his bag of Shakeology and you did not make the Diamond Retreat, and you're totally crushed because it was one of your goals. So that's why I'm sharing with you how to be proactive about holding your rank. Heidi? Do you have something to add?
Sorry. Yes, I did the exact same thing. And I stayed very, very close to all those people. I can literally remember, Tracy, you telling me to do that. And I was on the plane, and my whole plane ride, I went through, like I had internet. And for 3 hours, like I went through every single person. I'm like, when are they going to get it? Am I good? So in a sense, it forces you to even just get closer to those people. Like it's a good strategy anyway. So it just helped me really understand if they were going to still be drinking Shakeology. Either way, it was important to know. So perfect way to stay close.
Yes, because you always have those people. Like I have one guy that I'm thinking of in particular. He just wants to drink Shakeology, and he doesn't really ever want to be in my challenge groups. And it's hard to sometimes stay engaged with those people or to figure out how you as a coach can offer them value when really all they're just doing is buying Shakeology. But it did, like getting reacclimated with him and close to him. Like he totally jumped on the health bet because boom, it was a competitive thing. Even though it was like, he knew it would be like a $10 payout or whatever it's going to be, that was like his jam. And I figured out like, hey, the health bet's going to be great for you because I have learned now from having to engage in more conversation with him, basically to see how the Shakeology was going and sometimes, making sure they stay active. The gift that comes out of getting in touch with those people is you really figure out how you can coach them and how you can motivate them. So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I definitely wanted to go over this since we're now in the zone of Success Club and we're getting closer to when you have to hold rank. So does anyone have any questions on this before I jump off? Whoops. I can't see your faces, so I'm going to guess that maybe that's a no. Okay. All right, Success Club. So this guy, I have not read his book, but it's going to be on my book list. So for those that hit Success Club 5, Eric Qualman, there's a webinar with him, and he wrote the book Socialnomics, which is getting a lot of rave reviews in the wall. So at least write that down for your personal development reading list. The last like 3 times we've had a webinar, quite honestly, I've only heard one of them, and the one that I heard was fantastic. It was so good. So Beachbody does do a really good job making sure that if they're going to put someone on the webinar as the gift for Success Club, it's usually something that's going to be worth your time. So wanted to just throw that out there if you hadn't seen that in the announcements. Okay. And also dream big, you guys. Anybody can be a top 10 challenge pack seller for October. Carl Deichler did a really cute video. They are offering 10 Apple, what are these things? The Apple Watch that is customized to Team Beachbody, which is pretty cool. Okay, this is also the last month of what has been a dreamy 3 months where we've had $140 challenge packs for PiYo, Country Heat, 21 Day Fix, 21 Day Fix Extreme, 22-minute hardcore size, the club, and all of the kickstarts being $180. That is going to change in November. Everything's going to go back up to $160. So if you have people that you've been talking to all summer that are sort of sitting on the fence, that can't make a decision, this is going to be a good time to talk with them about challenge groups. I know a lot of people are doing a challenge group on Monday, the 10th. I think there's a couple other people doing challenge groups on the 17th. And then I'm doing a challenge group on the 1st, which is a Tuesday. I'm kicking it off the day after Halloween. I personally will be on the Ultimate Reset, so I won't be doing workouts, but I'll be doing challenge groups. So if anybody wants to do the Ultimate Reset with me, I'm starting that October 25th. Just going to throw that plug out there. It'll be my second time doing it.
We're starting at the 25th?
Yeah.
Before Halloween?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's brave.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really brave.
Guess who's not going to be eating any candy?
I would have to lock myself like in my bedroom under the bed and be like, no one bother me. I can't. Oh my God.
Actually, the hardest part for me is not going to be drinking wine with the neighbors while the kids drink.
Yeah, I think all of it. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'll be checking in with you that night.
Okay. You'll be drunk. I'll be sober. Okay.
Yeah, I'm drunk on like candy and alcohol.
Okay, so recognition. I don't think she's on the call tonight, Shauna Satram, but she is a brand new coach. She's in her second month of coaching, and she became an Emerald coach last Thursday, which is super exciting. So definitely wanted to congratulate her. She's been working really hard, and she's also exhausted at the end of every day because she's working with middle school as the band director. So like, can you imagine the band like sounds for like 8 hours a day? I don't know how she does it. She must come home and just like enjoy hearing Autumn's voice. But Shauna, if you watch this recording, awesome job on your progress. That's amazing. And yeah, I just saw your questions, you guys. Core to Force most likely will be the November challenge pack. Anytime they do a release, they always make that the challenge pack. So I would say 99% Core to Force will be the $140 challenge pack, but it hasn't officially been announced yet. Okay, I wanted to recognize Brandy Truex, who is not on the call because she's bracing for a hurricane, I think Category 4 hurricane. So keep her in your prayers tonight, and really anyone in Florida for that matter, and South Carolina. But Brandy put this amazing booth up at her nursery school. Not only did she put the booth up, but she ran like the whole day. Like she was chairwoman for like all of these tables. She made Shakeology balls. She made Shakeology in the blender. As you see, like in the right-hand side, she did her own before and after picture and put it on like the stock photo, which looked amazing. And she just stood there like proud and helpful and talked to a ton of people. And that is really putting yourself out there and definitely eating frogs and definitely pushing yourself out of comfort zones. And I know a lot of people on this team saw what she did and were inspired by it. So this is one of those non-scale victories that even if no challenge pack comes out of it, I think Brandy would, if she was on this call, definitely say that she learned a lot and she grew from this experience. So that is awesome. If you have any questions, ask her about it. She did a really awesome YouTube video on it. All right, Heidi, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you. So I wanted to congratulate Laura. She was our top Success Club earner, and the pictures are covering it. So I think it's a Success Club 10, but her husband also had points. So I think total she was probably at 12. But I'm just really proud of her because I remember her sending me a message saying, okay, I'm getting stuck in this area. I'm trying to figure out what I can do different. And she's one of those people that she always asks for, suggestions, and then she puts it into place. I think we all, like, I know I fall into that where I'm like, oh, I need to do this and need this, but actually executing is the hardest part. And so I just think that, as we all have a lot of things going on, she's still adjusting to having her cute little boy from China and all the doctor's appointments that she has to go to. And she's juggles so much with 3 kids. And I'm just very excited and proud that she led the way for our team. So nice job, Laura. If she can.
I loved her husband applauding in the background. I don't know if you saw that, but.
No, I can't see her face.
It's hard when you're talking to see faces, but
yeah.
Awesome job, Laura. Okay, so this little slide right here, if you want it, it's on I think it's on the Poach page. It's definitely on the Ball Direct Babe page. I have a slide made or an image like this at the end of every month that just lists every single coach, even discount coaches, right? So there's probably people that you've brought on as discount coaches that are like, I don't ever want to do anything with the business, and maybe they don't. But sometimes it's just fun for people to see their names somewhere. And so this is a post that you can use or you can make one of your own, but I think that it's really cool when people see that they've joined something, a community, and then what they want to do in that community is up to them. So those were our new coaches for the month of September. No, for the month of, September. Sorry, I'm losing my mind here. Okay, so let's see. We've got one question. Yes, Laura, it's either the Poach page or the Ball Direct Babe page or both. If you can't find it, let me know and I will post it on the Poach page if it's not there, but I think it's there. Okay, so I am going to spend some time being quiet. I'm going to start off tonight. We're going to talk about target markets, top defining moments, but we're probably going to move Suzanne to the end. Live video, leadership, and I don't know if Kira, I haven't seen Kira's face, but maybe she's jumped on. And whoa, hold up now. And adding value. Okay, so we are going to start off with Heidi.
Okay, great. So lots of different takeaways from the from Platinum Edge, and for somebody who has been to now 2 of them, I have to say I probably enjoyed this one even more. But it also could be at the stage of business that I'm in. I just like soaked it all in and kind of knew, okay, this is what I want to do with this information. So with this particular one, this one hit home for me the most. Because I think that we all post on social media hoping that someone, we don't care, like especially when you first start out, you'll take anybody. Like you'll take anybody to coach. If anybody wants to coach, you're like, sure, come on, And I think that's what I have done over and over again. But what really resonated with me with the target market is it really got me thinking about who that person is. Like who, they say like attracts like. So who am I actually trying to attract? And when you sit down pen to paper and you actually write down all the things that you really want in someone else to like really be like your right-hand person or really be somebody to enhance your team, what do they look like? Like, who are they? For me, I relate the most with working moms, probably around like, mid 30s to maybe, I don't know, to 50s, somewhere in that range. And that seems kind of broad, but I really relate to just busy working moms that no matter what they have on their plate, they get it done. And that's my attitude. It's always been my attitude. It's like this no excuse attitude. Like if you really want something bad enough, you're going to find a way. So I relate to those people. I have a harder time relating to people who just kind of coast through. So I realized that, wow, like I need to define this in a more specific manner. So Tracy's got some slides up, and one of them, what is the problem that you're solving? You are the go-to expert for what? And asking that question, I thought was really good because, yes, I'm a working mom, but like what am I really good at? Like, what are some of those specific things that I can share on social media? Like for you, maybe it's that you're awesome at organizing and you want to attract people who are like that. Or maybe you want to help some people to get better. Like maybe you've gotten better over time. Is it that you're awesome at meal prep? You're awesome at cleaning? Like I really had to sit there and like make a list of what I feel I'm good at, what I can share, and who I want to attract. And it was an exercise that took me some time and some like real digging to figure out. It wasn't that simple. It's kind of hard to like think about yourself being good at all these different things. So because of that, I really went through, I took that activity and I started to go through first my challengers and started looking at people that I really want to coach with. Like I really thought about like, what do we have in common? How can we relate to each other? And I started reaching out. I didn't reach out to like 50 people. I literally reached out to just 5. And I was happy with that because out of the 5, 3 responded and said, I've been thinking about coaching, but here are my questions. And I was like, oh, awesome. I didn't even know they were thinking about it. So it made me really excited because they were quality people that I knew I could relate to and get to know better. The second slide, your tribe attracts your tribe. Go a mile wide and an inch deep, and then be a specialist, not a generalist. Again, I was very much, I feel, going after like a general group. But if you write your social media post or you write anything specific to the person that you want to attract, it actually changes the way you're putting yourself out there. Like it changes your wording. It changes sometimes your attitude, your mindset for that post. So I've started to become a little bit more intentional with that and just getting more and more specific, and then dream building on like, what do I really want to build for my team? So I hope those are just a couple things to think about and write down and like kind of put some thought into as you guys are trying to define your market.
And just to tap on what Heidi was talking about. So like my last few minutes at the hotel was Sunday morning, and I actually spent them with Heidi because I didn't feel like I had gotten really good time with her. I told Heidi, just so that you guys know this, I was like, I have learned from this weekend that like I really like, yes, Faithfully Fit stands for like the four cornerstones of my life, but I had a really hard time figuring out, like, I think the one girl was like, write down what you're amazing at, and I'm like, oh, and what am I amazing at? You know, like you literally sit there and you write down things that you think you're good at, but as I was looking at my list, I'm like, okay, well, I don't really think this makes me unique. Right? So I had a hard time thinking about, yeah, okay, I'm amazing at a couple of things, but what am I really unique at? And it wasn't until I started asking people, and Heidi was sweet enough. She was like, oh, I'll put together an email. And she put together an email on things I would like to know more about Tracy. And she wrote me this email, which I don't even know if I verbally have thanked you for that, Heidi, but thank you for it. If you're having a hard time figuring out like what brands you as being awesome, because we're all awesome and amazing, and God has given each and every one of us unique talents, but sometimes that's hard to know because we're in it ourselves, and we need to hear it from those that we're close to or those that we work with. So ask a co-coach, ask your spouse, ask your best friend, ask your mom, ask your brother, ask your cousin, ask your neighbor, and see what they say. And I promise you, it gives you a totally different perspective. Because some of the things that Heidi wrote down that she'd want to know more about, like I laughed out loud. I was like, you want to know more about that? But if she thinks that, then maybe there's other people out there that think that. So even though that, like, I wouldn't even check that off as being unique about me, it is unique. So get that feedback from other people.
Yeah, definitely.
And Heidi, do you want to go into Mile Wide, Inch Deep? I think Laura had a quick question about.
Yeah, I think Pam just responded.
Okay.
I was curious on what she said. I couldn't read Pam's response.
My thought, wouldn't you want to be deeper than wider?
It's how it describes, it's funny, it's how Common Core is described, all the teaching stuff. It's that you are, if you're a mile wide and just an inch deep, you're not really going into depth on anything. You're just kind of skimming the surface. But if you go in inch deep, if you really narrow your focus to what you're good at, to what your strength is, but go a mile deep on those things, you're covering so much more depth, so much more information, and giving people, you know, really understanding everything in a greater way.
And I wanted to say real quick on that, I don't want to take up more time. Just want to say that that's what I have spent the last, I would say week, maybe week and a half doing, is I have taken the time to go deeper with certain people in terms of my challengers that I feel like I wasn't doing a good job doing. So it very much opened my eyes to, wow, I'm not getting to know them on the level that I want to get to know them.
Cool. Anybody have any questions for Heidi? Okay. All right, Juliet. Kira's on. Hi, Kira.
Hi, guys.
How
Sorry
are
I'm
you?
late.
That's
Traffic in my
okay.
area is no joke.
It is okay. I'm glad you made it. Okay, Juliet, floor's yours.
So I'm so glad that you had the slide, because I was like, what did I say I was talking about today? Pam was like, are you practicing? I'm like, I actually have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm figuring they're going to put it up and I'm going to be like, oh, right. Let's get to it. So live videos, which you guys maybe have noticed, everyone on the call, that you're seeing much more live videos, and probably from all different realms, not just Beachbody coaches, but just from people all around. It's the new thing right now. And the thing that I really took away from it, it was like so amazing, was the sky. Was this the skydiver slide? The social media? Yeah. So there was a company that was a skydiver, and I can't even. They were somewhere in the middle Midwest, and they put, what was it, like $100 towards an ad, and literally tripled their income, or more than tripled their income, and it was just from one live video. Sponsored ad. And it was just super, super cool to see, okay, you know what? That more people are apparently watching the live videos than are reading the stuff. And I think Tracy had said to me today that she did a live video and was like, I'm just going to throw it up there because it's something about, she's going through the anti-inflammatory. And it's been her biggest thing. And I know I actually will be like, oh, what's this? And then all of a sudden get sucked into something. And I think that's what it is, because there's some people that say, I don't really watch it. And I'm like, when you ever do click on it and they're like, I do watch it to the end. It's really funny. Like if it doesn't catch me right away, maybe I don't, but if it's something that catches me, I literally watch to the end and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So that social videos generate 1,200 more shares than text and images combined. And that's the thing that they were saying for you to do. Go and think about something that you're good at. It was actually, I was sitting next to Pam Blackwell at the conference and she looked at me and goes, oh, I'm going to start posting about teaching. And I'm like, oh my God, why haven't you done that before? You're so right. I can't believe that none of us thought like, Pam, you're a teacher and like you can give so much advice to people and that can be like your niche, like, you know, your target market also, as just Heidi talked about. And it kind of light bulbs started going off and, you know, like thinking about what can I share? You know, I know a lot about ticks. I might do one day talk about ticks. I know like their nymph stage and when they become male and female, like weirdly know about bugs. But there's going to be people out there that, you know, are like, oh, she knows a lot about bugs. I'm going to start following her and then sharing. So the thing that you want to do is have content that is shared because then you're getting more people and, you know, not just your friends, but you're getting friends of friends and friends of friends. So, the thing that was also really interesting. Now, can I talk about the doing the advertising?
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know if there was anyone else talking about it. I want to take anyone's.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So the thing that I found really interesting is they said, if you have a like page, sorry, my hand's like there. If you have a like page and you do an ad, like, so you basically talk about, you know, a challenge group and which I don't think any of us have really done live challenge group ones yet. But if you talk about, I'll talk to you a second, Nicole. Let me just finish my thought real quick. So if you put an ad up and you do it just organically and just start getting traction, then you go and you boost it. So if you want to like spend, you know, $3 a day or something, that let your ad or let your video, live video, whatever it's on, get the traction first from your audience, and then you boost it. And you do that through Page Manager. Is that what it's called?
You run your post organically, not an ad. You just run your post or your live video and let it sit for 1 to 24 hours, and then you run an ad.
Yes, and then that they said will totally heard something after the text. So you totally, like, it gets more people. So that's where the algorithm of Facebook kind of kicks in a little bit more. And so that's where you're going to increase your, you know, your reach. It was actually, I did, if anyone's been watching, I've been doing this Ladies on the Lawn, which is like a live workout. Tracy and I've been doing it. And this week I was like, you know what, I'm going to do, I didn't do a video that that I have boosted yet, but I did just a regular stagnant post and I let that go. And then I was like, you know what, now I'm going to put it up. And I got a lot, and I just targeted it to the area that I wanted. So I did like 5 towns around us, and I got people that I don't know. You know, none of them showed up today, but that's beside the point. But they see it, and now they're following me. And that's the thing that's really interesting, because I've also had people reach out to me and be like, that I, you know, have never liked any of the posts, that I've done any ads or whatever, or no, that have just seen my thing, and they saw that ad, and they said, you know what? I have been seeing, you know, your post, and I really am meaning to come. I love that you're doing this. Thank you so much. And it takes you back to the whole, you know, people are watching you. Like, I know that sounds creepy, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not watching you through your window. They're watching you on Facebook. But you have people that are checking your post, seeing what you're doing, and little by little, they're going to be like, you know what? When their time is right, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing that. If you're asking the right questions and you're, you know, if they're liking things or not even, but like you are just keep doing the same thing, eventually they'll like something, and eventually you'll be like, oh, let me, you know, thank them for liking this. And it will go from there, which I thought was just with the live videos, just is another way that we can kind of show our personality. We can show ourselves. We can, you know, it definitely, I know I had done when it first came up, I think there was like one morning, you know, anyone that knows me knows that I kind of like seeing myself and talking. So I was like, ooh, I'm going to try this live video thing. And I think it was like an early morning workout. And I was like, this is kind of fun. And then I realized when I was on, I was like, oh my God. Oh, no, everyone, oh, I see what they mean live. Like everyone can see me right now. It's kind of really funny, but I had people like, you know, oh my gosh, you're working out so early. I can't believe you really actually do this. And it was kind of, it was fun to do. So if you have not done a live video, definitely like maybe if you drink, have a glass of wine, but not too much because you don't want to be like stuttering and slurry because then that's not going to be good. But just have like a little bit, and then think of something. Think of a topic that is dear to you, or maybe stuff about different foods. Maybe like really in-depth things about vegetables, or maybe what knowing what you should know and not knowing. Yes, so exactly what that slide says. So that's the thing. You want to think of something that you're going to give to the audience. It doesn't have to be Beachbody related at all, and it probably in the beginning should not be Beachbody related. It should be something that and you're good at. It could be one night you're putting your kids to bed and like a light bulb goes off because I want some water, I want this, I want that, and you talk to them calmly, maybe put some music on, and that works for you that night. That's a great time to put up a live video and just hey, who else is going through this? What are some of your tips and tricks to putting your kids to bed without fighting? We're all moms out there, or work or do something or have some sort of something that we're good at. And so think about that and tap into that and start doing your live videos. And if you're nervous, just do it, because you got to do it if you want to grow your business. So just do it and then promote it after you have some traction. I hope that made sense, because as I said, I really didn't practice. I'm sorry.
No, it's casual. It's fine. And I think you nailed it. I think the hardest thing for most people and what they get jammed up about is not knowing what to talk about, or not knowing how to add value. And so there is a slide that we're going to get to that has some ideas, but I promise you that's where it goes back to what Heidi was talking about. Like, if you truly understand who you're going after, it enables you to know like what you can talk about, like who are you going after? What are you unique at? Marry those two together and you can come up with a ton of different things.
Yes.
I also want to just tap in there that we'll get into ads in a little bit. We're not really getting in tonight about like running ads and things like that. But it does, when you start doing live video and you let it sit for a little bit, everybody who's on this call is going to want to get to a like page in the next 6 to 12 months, depending on where you are in your business. Obviously, if your personal page has a lot of room for growth, you can use that for a little bit, but you can't run ads on your personal page. Also know that when we get into more ad conversations, Facebook will not give you good algorithms even for your ads until they see that you're starting to spend money with them. Doesn't mean you have to spend a ton of money with them, but since April, I've spent $1,100 on ads, and I still have gotten 0 challenge packs. But I will tell you one thing, and this is what I was telling Juliet on Boxer today. I literally got some bad news about my autoimmune disease last week, and sort of it wasn't emotional, but like I was like revved up about it, and I did a 10-minute live video. And I always do live videos on my like page first because they don't get as much traction. And then I feel like after I've had practice, then I can go to my personal page and basically do the same video over again. And I did this 10-minute video and I let it run for 3 days. And then I ran an ad, $3 a day. And that's the video I told Juliet about. After $1,200 and like 7 months of running ad after ad after ad, I think I just counted today, I've run 62 ads. Still have not gotten a challenge pack. This ad, a 10-minute ad, is getting, I'm paying 1 penny per view, which you're aiming for 10 cents per engagement, whether that's a post click or something, and I'm paying a penny. And I know people are watching the whole 10-minute thing, which really blows my mind, because all the title says is like anti-inflammatory foods. Like, it's the lamest title, but in the last 30 seconds, I invite them to a freemium, and they're all replying interested, 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 which means they're watching me as a total stranger for 10 minutes, which goes back into Juliet's whole thing that if you are offering something of value, people are going to watch you. And I would never tell any of you all to do a 10-minute video, but this one I was like, I'll just throw it up for practice. It's my like page. No one's watching my like page anyway. And you just never know. So you got to be patient with it. We will teach you how to do ads, but because it takes a long time is why you need to start now. Okay? All right.
Kira's got some good traction. Yeah, Kira's got some good traction on hers, I feel like.
She does. She's a quick mover. She's a frog leaper when it comes to Instagram and all that kind of good stuff.
I
I'm
told
gonna
Tracy,
turn it over
I feel like it's gambling a little bit. Like I told Tracy, I'm like, I throw things up there, I spend some money, and then all of a sudden I have this bill and I'm like, what exactly am I getting for this? But you do. And I will say, like, it's the video I have on my like page of me doing an autumn workout, and then my 2-year-old came running into the room and starts doing football fast feet with me. Like I get 1 cent per engagement for that video, and I think it has like 11,000 views at this point, like because it's something people are just think is cute, and it draws so I just run it continuously for $3 a day.
Yeah.
And it draws people into my like page more than anything else, or they like the video and then I invite them to the like page, assuming they kind of seem to fit my target market.
If I can just interrupt, Laura was wondering, why would you wait to have a like page? And anyone can feel free to chip in here, but I feel like Facebook allows your personal page to have 4,000 friends, and that's a lot of traction you can make on a personal page. Like pages, I think, are important as long as, and I think you can start one sooner than later, as long as you know that they take so much work, right? I mean, it's like, I can't even describe. You can put the same post up that you put up on your personal page, and your personal page, you might get 150 likes within 2 hours. You put the same post up on your like page and it'll get crickets, and 6 months later you can try that same post again and it'll get like 2 likes. So it just requires a lot of consistency, and that takes time away from your personal page. And if your personal page has a lot of room for growth, in my opinion, there's not as much reason to take time away from a page that's going to grow quicker. Because if you add up all the minutes into your like page, your return on investment isn't going to quite be there. But if you're at like 2,000 friends and you only have 2,000 left to go, then that might be a good time to start a like page. Or if you find that you're running freemiums and you're having a hard time getting new friends, or you feel like you've hit a plateau, then it would be a good time to start a like page.
I was just going to say that, Tracy. That's what I've been paying money for, is when I advertise my freemiums. And that's where I get the benefit. And it may not be, you probably even, Tracy, have gotten challenge packs, maybe not directly from your like page, but because people are watching it, it has increased your engagement with those people. So you probably are getting it indirectly.
Yes. I don't have a list. Like, of course, I'm keeping a list of people through my Wufoo form. At some point, I want to look at the Wufoo form and be like, okay, X amount of people came from the Wufoo form and turned into profit. And I know that will happen. Every single person who has a successful like page says it's going to happen. So I don't mind the $1,200. It'll probably be closer to $3,000 before really anything comes out of it. So you just have to have the mind shift that for the first couple of years as you're running your business, a lot of what you make has to be reinvested back into your business. That's just the way it is.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Are you good, Laura?
Sorry, not to go off on a tangent, but something that you mentioned about having the Wufoo form link, I swear when I tried to use it, that my posts got buried through algorithms on my regular page. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that if you're not putting it on your like page, if you're just putting it on your personal page, having that link, somehow Facebook doesn't get a boost, like it's just not out to all your audience?
I think the algorithms have been a little wacky, so it's hard to say. But honestly, I use the Wufoo form mostly in messages to people who have liked my page. And I also, on my like page, they can click contact me and it takes them directly to a Wufoo. So I have used it on a call to action, but I haven't noticed whether or not those call to actions have had less traction or not. I feel like overall I've had less traction on my personal page, but I think a lot of people have, just because Facebook has been changing the algorithms a bit. All right, Kira, floor is yours.
So I might go off on a tangent a little bit, but I'm going to talk a little bit about, I mean, this is all like I just had some quick notes, but talking a little bit about leadership and who you are as a leader, and then also on like who connect back to that target market and who you are creating as your brand and like what you want your brand to be. So Danielle gave a talk about creating social media best friends, and Danielle Natoni, kind of my like BFF, who I want to be a coach like. But she basically talked about how when someone puts something up on her page that's maybe a little negative or derogatory, like she doesn't have to defend herself. 15 people jump in from her followers to basically do the same. So she basically is searching for people who are her target market, who are going to come to bat for her, to be her people, right? So coming back to that list, so the big defining thing for me was what Tracy was talking about, and figuring that 3 to 5 things of who you are outside of Beachbody and what you want people to trust you on. And then making sure the posts that you make are really playing to that, and kind of that asking yourself, like, so what? Like, what would I get from this if I were viewing this on a page? And making sure that everything that your post is really catering to those people. And same as a leader, right? Like, who are the leaders that you're trying to attract to your team, and making sure that you are posting things that would be interesting to them. So I thought they actually had, I don't know if it was actually in Danielle's talk, or I think this might've been on Sunday with the, they had 2 real top network marketing professionals that were there outside of Beachbody, and they gave some of their kind of best tips on how they were successful. And one of them said, like, who are your top 3 leaders in your organization? What do their profiles look like? And you want to be spending 80% of your time posting solutions to their problems. So making sure that those are the people that you want to attract, and that is the message that you're consistently delivering when you're trying to attract coaches to your team. And then, you know, this was a huge comment that was made that kind of resonated with me. A lot of times we have our biggest breakdowns right before we have our biggest breakthroughs. And the last couple of months, just like for me personally, have been really tough. I've been dealing with a lot of just stuff, and work has been crazy. And so I just, like, there's a lot of really great messages that came out from Platinum Edge that were like, this is, bring yourself back to the reason of like why you're here in the first place. And that kind of is what really makes us strong leaders. Just one of the biggest impactful quotes that I heard on Sunday was, the best thing that you can do for your team is to build a new one. Inspire them by being inspiring. So making sure that you as a leader are out there recruiting, you're growing your team, you're being the leader that your team wants to follow. Andrea, who was there on Sunday, talking about branding and about your mission statement and knowing who you are as a company, as a corporation, basically talked about how you want to know the love languages of your team and how they want to be recognized. Do they like gifts? Do they like recognition? Like, what is it that inspires them, and what is it that scares them? Are they someone that can take a tough love conversation? But I think this also goes back to that mission statement. So what do you want to do? Who do you want to help? How do you want to help them? And how will it benefit the world? So those are the things that she talked a lot about. And then in that, growing your team and continuing to be out there and, you know, basically building a new team. There was a really awesome kind of message that one of the network marketing professionals used, because she talked a lot about recruiting on not only just Facebook and using Messenger, but also on LinkedIn. And for me, it kind of resonated with Instagram, because a lot of times we have these huge followers, and this goes back to the like page conversation we're having. Like, you know, I've grown my followers on Instagram, but they're not giving me any kind of return on investment quite yet. I don't exactly know what to do with them, because I feel like they're this big kind of mess of people that have a lot of different backgrounds and maybe aren't following me for the right reasons, or just not exactly the target market I want to attract. But figuring out how to suss out the ones that look like they are and getting to know them better. So she had a really awesome recruiting message that I just thought was really great, and one that I thought was so great that I actually just started sending messages from Instagram while I was sitting there in the seminar. And the message is this, and I can put it on the Poach page too, but she just said, "Hey Joe, I have to apologize for not reaching out to you beforehand. You've been on my Facebook for a year and I've seen your stuff, but we've never actually connected. One of my goals is to get to actually know more about my Facebook friends, or in my case, my Instagram followers. You've got such great energy on your posts. What is it that you do exactly?" and just leave it, like start the conversation that way. It was just a super easy, it's very non-threatening. So I sent it out to probably 10 people on Instagram. I got 8 responses. So just people that were like, oh yeah, thanks. What a nice message. Thanks for the compliment. And I just thought it was a really easy way to start conversations. And I don't know why I'm not doing that with every single Facebook friend I have from high school that I haven't talked to in a long time. I mean, that's just a way to increase their ability to see your posts, because I know most of them don't, and then just start conversations. So nothing, weird or sleazy feeling or salesy, but I just loved that. So, I mean, those are the big things that I took away the most, but just to be out there and making sure that you're constantly just walking the walk, right? We all want to recruit, or we all want our team to become better, and like we'd all love to inspire them to do big things. But I think the big thing that I took away from the Platinum Edge myself is that they're going to be inspired if you get out there and do it and build people up, and kind of what Tracy has always said along the way of like locking arms with the people that want to follow you, and as opposed to trying to push and prod people to be something now that that maybe they're not in the place to be. Because, I certainly have some people on my team that will be great coaches one day, but maybe it's just not their time right now. And that's okay. I'm going to go out and build it anyway. And when it's ready and when it's their time, they'll follow. So I definitely, those were my big things that I took away, not to wait for anyone else to do it for you, but to do it yourself. And I loved the idea of the best thing that you can do for your team is to build a new one, because, that in itself will inspire others to like start wanting to do more things when they see other people on your team being recognized. It's just kind of how we're built, right?
That's awesome.
I will definitely put that up on the post page.
Will you repeat that quote again?
Yeah, definitely. Which one? Like the reach out one, right?
The first one you wrote, yeah, about the breakthroughs. Oh
yeah. A lot of times we have our biggest breakdowns right before we have our biggest breakthroughs. Yeah, definitely.
I feel like a lot of us on this call should be ready for a breakthrough.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I just feel like that's what we hear all the time, right? People quit 95% of the way there, you're going to quit. And like the majority of the people do without, like, they're 99% of the way there. And right when they're about to do it, that's when they will quit. And that resonated with me the most. A lot of those things. So, and Katie, I hear you.
Awesome.
September was tough.
Yes.
Yeah, no joke.
Hail to October. Okay, Kira, thank you so much. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you for hanging out on Sunday and filling us all in while we caught early flights home.
Totally. It was good. Right. There was definitely some great stuff on Sunday.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay, Pam.
Hey, I actually wanted to say something real quick about the idea of the breakthroughs. One of the things that I've kept thinking about along those lines. At the end on Saturday when Mindy Lawhorn and Jen Delvaux were speaking, and I think it was Jen who was talking about her husband and his illness. One of them, I forget which, was just talking about leaning in. How when we're going through stuff, we tend to back away from the business and from our work with it, because we say, okay, we need to focus on other things. And they were talking about, both of them, these insane stories of their lives, of things that they had been through. And how they leaned in, and it helped them, and it helped them grow their business, but it helped them too, that by leaning into it instead of away from it, it made a huge difference in their lives. So that definitely resonated with me along the same lines.
Yeah.
What I was going to talk about, some of it it has already kind of been touched on, but it's the whole idea of adding value. And what I should have made a slide for this, and what I didn't is this, this is the teacher in me, the Venn diagram with like the two circles that intersect, for those of you who don't remember from school what a Venn diagram is. Coach Glitter was one of the people who spoke, Tiffany Bymaster. She's like a makeup artist and she does all these different things just to create personas, and she started her own business and took the risk. But she said, you've got on one side what you want to say, what we want to say, and the other side is what people are looking for. And where they intersect, that center, that's the sweet spot. That's the value that we can add. And the reason I decided to talk about this was actually exactly what Juliet was saying. I was sitting there, and it was fine. I was sitting there and literally I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a teacher. Like, why would I not be talking about being a teacher? And I had, we had just had, I think like the week before, Anita Myron had done a wake-up call about adding value. And so I'd been thinking about it already and clearly didn't put it together with teaching when she was talking about it. But it's this idea that the more we don't want to waste people's time with these posts. We're trying to give value to their lives, and it doesn't need to be about fitness and nutrition. It can be about anything that is significant for us, that we're knowledgeable about, that we've experienced with, that we can share. And I loved this, the second shot there where it says, people are insecure, give them confidence. People want to feel special, sincerely compliment them. And I don't need to read the whole thing, but that's how we give them value. We think about what people need in their lives. And sometimes it's a recipe, but sometimes it's hope. And it really depends on what you have to give also. And I think that was the other piece that stood out for me, is that I don't remember who said this. I've got it back in my notes, but that you're the secret sauce. So I can look at what Tracy's posting about autoimmune, and I think it's amazing. But if I try to do something like that, it doesn't make sense because it's not about me. It's not my life. It's her life. You have to be the secret sauce of yourself. That's what makes these posts and your sharing and the value that you can add successful. And that's what makes it worthy to people. If you try to, be somebody else, you can use concept. You can definitely learn from each other. But if you just throw something up there that somebody else did and kind of tag your name to it, it's not you. And it's not going to resonate with people, and it's not going to make a difference. You have to really kind of dig deep. And that can be about, that really falling apart moment that you have, or it can be, I actually was laughing because I never know how to say it, acai bowls, but like Kira did something, like she talked about that, did a post about it. I don't even remember.
San Diego. Yeah. When I went to San Diego, I used to eat these acai bowls when I was in San Diego. I loved them.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. We're still on the fence about it.
I laughed because that's value. And like literally I was at the store and looking at yogurt, and there was one with that was the mix. And I thought, I'm going to try it because Kira talked about it. So that gave me value. And it was actually a yogurt that Tracy had posted about. So the singing yogurt. So it's all these things that we walk away with, and then we're in all these places in our life, and everyone's using these things without even realizing it. People are pulling from just everything that you share that's honestly you. And the other piece that then comes from that is that if you share, and I think it was, who was it who said this? It was Tulin Emery said that if people trust you, I think it was she that said this. So you put all this out there and you share. So if I'm out there sharing about being a teacher, it has nothing to do with fitness and nutrition, but people trust me because I'm being honest and I'm giving them information that matters to them that they can use in their life. When I put up a live video last week about homework tips, so many people, the comments I got were so concrete. It wasn't like, just great job. It was like, wow, thank you. This is really making a difference. if they trust you, then when you say, you know what, you really should try Core de Force, it's amazing, they're going to trust you on that too, because you've established a relationship, and you have to do that through you and what you know. So that's my adding value piece.
On that trust thing too, Pam, like, I've always been a person that kind of goes right to, like that we talk about throwing up on people and like giving them a lot of information and not breadcrumbing as much as I should, because that's how I kind of tend to be personally. But one of the things that they talked about on Sunday, one of the girl, is when you do reach out to people, there's like a 5-prong approach before you actually go to like, this is the sell or whatever it is. Like it really is developing that rapport, and it has nothing to do with giving information or making sure that you're getting, that across to them, but it is more on developing that relationship with them and making sure that they trust you. So, because that's the most important thing, is you're developing that rapport over time.
It's true. I mean, I used to, when I still send out those cold emails to people, or the messages on Facebook, but more often than not, I really just try to start conversations, and then I give some time before I throw that out there, because I don't want them to think that the only reason I'm there is just, hey, buy a challenge pack. Because I really want people to understand when they do buy a challenge pack that it's not just about the sale, that's the beginning of a relationship in which I want to help them. So
Totally.
Even if they never purchase anything after that 21 days, I had somebody actually text me recently, just like 2 days ago, who went back to Weight Watchers, and she said, I really hope I didn't disappoint you. And I said, how could you have disappointed me? You have like made a change in your life. And if I was a tiny part of that by you buying 21 Day Fix, even though it wasn't the right match for you right then, but it got you on the right track, then you know what? Awesome. That's amazing. I'm thrilled. So if all I do is say, hey, buy a challenge pack, then that makes it like, okay, my job's done. Thanks for the, commission, and I'm on my way. And that's not what we're about. We're about so much more than that.
Yes. Amen. We're in the relationship business, not the transactional business. Right?
Well, I think also because so many people fail at health and fitness, like when they start a program, that's the people that go dark on me. They're people that are like, I just ate, I drank 3 pints of beer, or I ate a chocolate cake. They're the people that are dark because they're embarrassed, or they feel like they're disappointing us in some way.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
And that's really, it's so hard. I find it so hard when the people who I know need help so much are the people who go dark. And I just want to get through to them somehow, and they're just not ready. It's, you have to wait.
Okay. They'll have their time, and when they're ready, they'll be ready, but they've got to be open to hearing it, just like people with coaching.
Right. Amen. Well, it was an awesome Platinum Edge. We did not even do it justice or scratch the surface tonight in terms of what we talked about, but I hope for those of you that weren't there, you got a little bit of a gist, or you got some value, or something struck a chord where you're like, oh my goodness, I need to dig into that, or I need to ask questions. But if you have any questions to any of us, box us. We're happy to answer them. And the last thing I'm going to end with is, you guys may or may not have seen that this is the month where we're starting Zoom calls every week. And next week is Megan Jones. She's up, right, Megan? Next week. Next week is Megan,
right?
And she's on for 9 o'clock, and then it starts alternating. The week after is 12 p.m. The week after is 9 p.m. The week after is 12 p.m. So we're going to flip-flop so that we can be fair to everyone on the team, because there is no one time that fits every person. And the topics are strategically going to be things that are going to gear you guys up for January. So I'm going to be talking about things like WooFoo forms. I'm going to be talking about Facebook ads. I'm going to be doing a lot of live here, watch me run this ad and Q&As for some of those. You guys can always, I posted it today, so you can go and look at the roster for what's coming up. But my goal is really you all need to be thinking about using this quarter to get yourself ready for January, because the more you work this quarter at preparing yourself for growth, the more you're going to be capable of handling that growth. Because there's nothing like January through April, you guys. January through April is totally insane. And if you do your job as best as you can this quarter, prepping for that, for new coaches, for new challengers, for new ideas, for keeping follow-up. That's another thing I just put on the roster is I'm going to be talking follow-up and how do you actually convert somebody from your like page into streak. And now they're in streak. Now what? What's the system for being able to follow up with all these people so that you are positioned for new coaches and new challengers for January through April? Because you need awesome momentum in the first part of the year to carry you through the summer, because summer is tough. So you've got to come in with a bang. So that's my goal for you guys, is really like hit Success Club 5 at a minimum, but let's get fired up and excited for January so that we can all experience amazing growth. Cool?
Did anybody else get one of these lights, these little clip-on lights? They're so awesome. You can use them in my on my computer as well as my phone. They're great.
Yeah, I've been doing them, and they're very illuminating. I look like
Juliet Geiger.
Yes.
Oh, yay!
Yes, Pam and I got them on the plane.
We were ordering them on the plane on the way.
We did a lot of stuff. And then I got one for Amanda. I sent it to her today because she hasn't done hasn't done any videos yet. So I was like, perfect.
I got one for Alyssa.
Nice.
Okay. So Pam, post in the post page what you have in your hand, because if I'm not at Platinum Edge, I'm looking at that and I'm like, what is that? And can you post what you have in the post page too?
I can post the link. I can post the Amazon link to this and the light that we got. The two that we got. I did because I'm a compulsive researcher. I read like all the reviews for the different lights, and because God forbid I should ever order anything without doing that.
She's like, don't order yet. Let me look. And I was like, what? This is the one they said. She's like, no, it had less stars. And I was like, I'm going with you. Tell me what to do.
All right. Well, we're 7 minutes over. So post that, and that way everyone else knows what those devices are that you're holding. And I will see you guys. Megan will see you guys next Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right,
Bye,
everybody.
All right,
See
bye.
you later.
Thank you.
Bye.